Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Mondays are so awesome. We get to get back to doing this, and great start there with Scott Weeman. I hope many people will continue to check CatholicInRecovery.com and find out all about it. Find out maybe if you are in a recovery program yourself or someone in the family is, it's something that could be helpful to you. CatholicInRecovery.com. This hour, we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to talk about being that member of the family who has become Catholic. This is maybe becoming more and more common, and I'm very happy if it is, in fact, becoming more and more common, because more and more people are discovering the Catholic faith through all of so many ways we're getting the message out. And I know everybody's feeling defeated about being Catholic, and it's such a tough time to be Catholic, and we've had, we've had 6 or 7 tough decades, but the message is getting out. People have learned how to get the message of the Catholic faith out. And so this hour, we welcome one of the people who is doing just that. Desirae Sifuentes is our guest. She's the creator behind Uncatechized Catholic, a popular podcast and social media work dedicated to helping Catholics deepen their understanding of the faith. She's a theology student, a mother of 6, Catholic educator, and we're just delighted to have her here. Desirae Sifuentes, thank you very much for being here.
Of course. I'm a theology grad now.
Oh, so, I don't know why. Yes, I apologize. Well, but you're a student for life. You're a student for life. Yes, right. Yeah. But you're also formerly known as the Uncatechized Catholic. That would be one way to say it. But
that's correct.
It's a wonderful kind of apostolate you have undertaken. Just tell me a little bit about what you do, how people find you, and what it is you're trying to accomplish with what you do.
Yeah, sure. So Uncatechized Catholic is something I do. So if you're looking to find me, you can find me by my name or the work by the name Uncatechized Catholic. And the idea is that basically I am the Catholic formerly known as Uncatechized. And when I was in my 20s, well, actually, when I was 19, I had this major faith reversion moment and became convicted that the Catholic faith is the true faith. And so I had all the faith, but none of the reason at that point. So I pursued the reason side of things. It culminated in me deciding to go back to college to get my theology degree. And when that happened, I felt God say to me, you were an uncatechized Catholic, and there are others who are like you, and you can help them. And so that just kind of simmered in the background for me until I took a break about 75% of the way through my degree. Started Uncatechized Catholic on Instagram. Now it's YouTube, TikTok, wherever. I'm all over.
Mm-hmm.
And it took off in no small part thanks to Catholic Answers in January of 2024, and I've been doing it ever since.
I really didn't expect that last part. That makes me feel happy.
Yep.
In what way was Catholic Answers helpful? I know we've talked before, but did that gave you some cachet, or what happened? Tell me what happened.
No. So basically, I started it in January 2023, the way that I have it now.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it seriously. It was the first thing I cut when life got busy or kids got sick or what have you. Then I thought at the end of that year, maybe I should just let it go. But I felt like God was saying, no, not yet. Keep trying. So, all right, fine. New year, 2024 resolution. I'm going to work like it depends on me, pray like it depends on God. And so I followed all the accounts that tell you how to grow on Instagram and what have you. And I followed all the rules, and every day I would net positive followers, not a lot, just like +1, +2. And then 2 weeks in, I was -2 for the day. And I have to laugh at myself. I got mad at God that I was -2.
Yeah, that seems like a good reason to get mad at God. I lost 2 followers today. Lord, what are you doing in heaven? I can see that. Yeah. So you got mad. Yeah. You got mad at God. Then what happened?
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to. I'm 30 years old. I don't want to be lip syncing to like Ariana Grande or whatever. I feel silly. So I'm only doing this because you told me a few weeks ago that you want me to do this. So if you want this to happen, you need to make it happen. And the way that I do my posts is there's a little video or sometimes a longer video, and then usually some info in the caption, but there's also further resources in the caption where I'll put articles or books or whatever. And if the author or the website is on Instagram, I'll tag them. And so this particular post, I tagged Catholic Answers And then Thomas wound up seeing that post, and he posted it to Catholic Answers stories. And I had 600 something followers at the time. Catholic Answers had like 250,000 followers. So that post went viral. And then the next day, 4 more posts around that went viral. And then the next day, 4 more posts around that went viral. So in a period of 2 days, I had 9 viral posts, and I went from 6,000 followers to 10,000 followers. And it's been going from there.
That is wonderful.
I know.
Well, Thomas is really good at, we call him Thomas the TikTok engine here because he's really good at what he does. But you should know the other side of the story. In all of that, we lost 2 followers. So we're mad at God about it. I'm only
Not
joking.
at me.
Desirae. Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm really glad that happened. I'm very, very happy that happened. But okay, so look, a lot of people, however, are coming into the Catholic faith, or they're taking up the Catholic faith in a serious way. Maybe it was, they were barely catechized or received some of their sacraments, and so we are seeing this wave, and it's not a tidal wave yet. I say yet because I think it is going to be a tidal wave. That's what I think, but it's a wave. We're having a moment. So a lot of people are ending up the only Catholic in the family, or maybe another way, it's for some people it's more like the only practicing or believing Catholic in the family. So how do you deal with being the only Catholic in the family?
Sure. So I think most people who find themselves in that position where they're literally the only Catholic they converted, or they're the only one living it, they probably feel really lonely. There might even be a tendency toward kind of despair or feeling misunderstood. And you might be dealing with some very real friction in your family because of your faith. And so what I think everybody in this particular situation wants is to feel like they're still an embedded part of the family, ideally have their family be converted, or at least have them understand you, or at the bare minimum not have this real friction in your family. And so there's sort of 2 paths you can go down. There's the immediate path, and then the one that you work on kind of over time. And so immediately I would say dive into your faith, have a healthy, frequent, active prayer life, stay in the scriptures, all that stuff. Just, you should be doing it anyway, but also because this loneliness can be really profound. But no one on earth is going to make you so happy, but there's never any loneliness when you're with Jesus.
Right.
So he can sort of be who you need in this moment, be your family, And you should also, I think, seriously focus on Christian hope immediately and seek the intercession of St. Monica, who famously converted her son, St. Augustine. And maybe even for your own comfort and edification, read Augustine's Confessions, because in there he details all the things that St. Monica did that made her a saint, but he also detailed all the ways that she fell short. There are many ways where when she was trying so hard to convert her son, she sort of got in her own way and got in his way and did some things because she was relying too much on herself and not enough on God. And I think in there, actually, you see at one point, St. Ambrose told St. Monica to just pray to God for her son and to truly trust that the son of all her tears would not be lost. And so there's this radical sympathy and empathy that I think you can feel when you're this person in the family towards St. Monica. And so leaning into those things immediately will help. But also over time, you have to either establish or reestablish or keep this place in your family where you're somebody who feels like family. So working on having your family understand you requires that you first understand them and ask them questions about their mental processes, their views, the reasons that they believe these things. And if they're not religious, ask them why. If they're a lapsed Catholic, ask them why. You should be very intimately familiar with them and not judgmental or quick to push conversion here, because this is part of what leads to that friction that you want to avoid, trying to kind of like force it a little too soon. But being a friend, being a loving family member, being non-judgmental, no one likes to feel like someone's looking down on them as like a bad person or like they're not enough, So you have to discern there. Sometimes you have to put some topics on ice for now or for a while. And just kind of like build up that reputation of being someone loving and trustworthy, and, be patient, pray for them the whole time. And I think when you do these things in the immediate and working for them in the long term, it gives us the permission and the confidence to be hopeful and to work hard and effectively. Like everyone who's tried to work under stressful conditions, it's much harder to work when you're stressed. A lot easier to work when you're not stressed. So allow yourself to not feel stressed. Allow yourself to rest in that trust in God. And you can only control yourself in this situation. So do a really good job controlling yourself and allowing the Holy Spirit to use you as a vessel, and, establish this relationship as somebody who's loving and trustworthy. And, I can tell you all these really ugly things about myself. And even though you're super religious, you won't judge me. And it allows them to really trust you and let those walls come down. And I think when you're persistent in charity, you get to where you want to go, and you allow for the peace in your family to then work and pave the way toward truth and love.
Wow. Desirae Sifuentes is our guest. And a lot of people my age, I know some of you are really good at the internet, but some of us aren't. This is how it works. You can just put @uncatechized Catholic in your searcherizer or your searching thing, that searching, but you know what I'm talking about. And it'll find her. It will find her @uncatechized Catholic. I didn't know that that's how the @ worked until somewhat recently. I'm ashamed to say, but check out Desirae Sifuentes' work. I'm delighted to hear you say sometimes you got to put it on the back burner a little bit. This urgent need. I mean, because I'm like everybody else. Well, not everybody, but a great number of Catholics my age. We have adult children that we want to bring back to the faith. We have, they didn't all become priests. They didn't all just, become, a lot of us have kids that have wandered off or are in some cases obstinately, in some cases maybe lazily, but whatever, are not practicing the faith. And it's hard not to be bugging people. It's hard to do that thing you said, which first let's work on being loving to this person, a person that you build up that trust with, and then maybe in a few years or decades, your opportunity will come for the other thing. Am I interpreting you right in saying that?
Yeah, and sometimes it really doesn't take years and decades. It can be a lot sooner than you'd think, and it's also usually, it's rarely, I think, a hard switch that flips. I mean, I know some people who have experienced that with their children and their children's spouses and stuff like that, but I've found more often than not it's usually kind of this breadcrumbing. You allow them to feel, truly authentically feel and believe like you're loving them, but leaving them alone on this thing. And it's just these subtle things, how your faith transforms you for the better. And that's actually like a really big part for the cases where you have to leave things alone, is you have to double down, work harder to let your faith fully and completely and truly transform you in your life, because things will happen and they'll kind of look at you and go, how are you not freaking out right now? And the honest answer will be like, God, like really God. Amen. If I didn't have my faith and I didn't have this relationship, I would be losing my mind. And then you get to be that silent witness that will appeal to them. And you never know if it'll happen in, a few months or a few years, or if it'll be on their deathbed. But it's usually not just a switch that flips. It's usually these little moments of watching them and realizing she's like this or he's like this because of their faith. They're different in a really good way that I can see and measure and taste because of this.
Maybe don't tell people or share that you got mad at God for losing 2 followers then. I don't know.
I have to say it every time. This is ritualistic humiliation for how ridiculous I was being.
Well, we all are at some point. I mean, if you don't get mad at God about small things, you won't be comfortable getting mad about the big things. And I think he likes us being honest with him. He doesn't want us
I think
faking
so
it.
Too, to be honest.
Why would he want us faking our relationship with him? That's crazy. All right, Desirae Sifuentes, our guest, formerly known as the Uncatechized Catholic, now quite catechized, but you can find her at Uncatechized Catholic. That is at Uncatechized Catholic. And still doing great work using social media to reach folks. You want to know why young people are returning to the faith, many of them discovering for the first time or rediscovering the faith. It's because of people like Desirae, and you are welcome to call and ask her about how to do just that. 888-318-7884. When you're the only Catholic in your family, that is our topic today. When you are the only Catholic in your family, 888-318-7884.
There's only one Catholic Answers Live. Are you a coffee drinker? If so, you can now enjoy a coffee roasted to perfection by the Carmelite monks of Wyoming. Delicious Mystic Monk coffee is roasted and prepared by monks in a hidden cloistered monastery and is available in over 25 varieties. All Mystic Monk coffees are works of perfection and labors of love. For more information on how to purchase Mystic Monk coffee, visit mysticmonkcoffee.com. That's mysticmonkcoffee.com.
He captivates viewers with thought-provoking political and cultural reporting that resonates with Catholics and people of faith.
At least 20 Christians were killed in coordinated attacks in 2 Nigerian states. What is actually happening on the ground now, and why does this Nigerian government seem unable to stop these attacks?
The World Over with Raymond Arroyo, Thursday night 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio and Television.
Back, Catholic Answers Live. Something is happening out there. I am telling you that I know that the data is not conclusive yet. There's nothing in the data that goes, wow, there is a giant wave of people coming to the Catholic faith. But I can tell you there's something different about it. Everywhere I go, the catechist at the parish or the director of religious education in the parish goes, it's not the same this year that it was 5 years ago. There's something different about the people who are coming, the reasons they're coming, and the numbers that are coming. So Desirae Sifuentes is one of those people who's making use, really good use of, and it's not like she went out and got a PhD in social media to go with her, education in theology. She just followed the Lord and said, let me offer what I've got. And I think there has to be a little bit more of this loaves and fishes attitude when it comes to bringing people to the faith, Desirae. I wonder what you think about that. Do you know what I mean by a loaves and fishes attitude? All I've got is a few loaves and a couple fish. But yeah, and then let Jesus do the rest.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I think I always come back to the phrase work like it depends on you and pray like it depends on God. And I think when you do say, like, this is the work that I can do, and I'm going to pray that, you make things happen, whether it's you open the way for me to go finish my degree, or for me to, know what to study, what to read, what to look at, or to help people at my parish or at my job or on the bus, you never know exactly where and when and how. Actually, I had a friend who told me a while ago, it's his common practice when, and I stole it off of him. It's his common practice when he's traveling, if he's in an airport or wherever have you, he'll say, God, please point out somebody to me who needs to hear from you. And inevitably some conversation will spark with somebody. And then the conversation just sort of naturally goes there. God opens the door, say the prayer in your head. If you want me to speak on this thing, give me the opening, soften their heart. And the conversations just flow. It's really great.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful testimony. And I've heard that from people who are truly devoted to evangelization, that everybody who really is devoted to evangelization at some point comes to the realization, ask God for the person to evangelize. Don't go out there and try to do it yourself. Ask God because he's got somebody for you to talk to. All right, so let me ask you, our topic is when you're the only Catholic in your family. Is that the case for you?
I am not. I was born into a Catholic family. Mm-hmm. I have quite a lot of Catholic family, but I'm the most practicing for sure member of my family.
Yeah. And I think more and more people are in that there we certainly have the I inherited my Catholicism from my family that a lot of people have. And then there will be that person who becomes convicted about the person of Jesus Christ, about the gospel. And that's a different level of thing. And I think sometimes the family doesn't know what to do with that person. And then that person doesn't know what to do with the family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, I describe my personal journey as I have had 2 conversions. So I have my primary conversion to Christianity and my secondary conversion to Catholicism. Mm-hmm. And so when I pray for my family, I pray specifically that God gives them whatever they need to continue on their faith journey, but that also that he gives them a reckoning conversion, because that was sort of what I experienced both times. Is it was these incredibly profound moments where I was like, holy cow, okay, I have to contend with this. And obviously it was my choice to reject it or take it, and I took it. But it's that conversion moment, I think, that people are sometimes missing.
I didn't really even ask for calls yet because I was planning on talking to you for a while before I went to calls, but every single line is lit up, Desirae. Would you feel comfortable if we just switched and went straight to calls?
Yeah, let's go right into it.
Talking with Desirae Sifuentes at Uncatechized Catholic. She is formerly known as the Uncatechized Catholic. Taylor is in Beaverton, Oregon, listening on the wonderful Modern Day Catholic radio. Taylor, welcome. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, so I'm kind of have a similar story to you. At 19, I met my fiance, actually, and he led me to the church, to Catholicism. And I had a question. I'm 21 now, and we're about to get married, like, in 3 weeks. But I had a question regarding finding community. Like, being 21, it's really hard for me in my parish. There's a lot of older people in my parish. It's really hard for me to find community. So do you have any suggestions finding like groups or communities that you can join in on and find others in a similar situation?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, congratulations. I also got with my spouse at 19. We got married at 19, but very similar. And I also brought my spouse to the church. So we have actually quite a lot of overlap here. But when it comes to parish, I heard you're in Beaverton, Oregon. I'm not sure exactly where in Oregon that is. Is that like a bigger city or a smaller city?
Just outside of Portland.
It's kind of a suburb of Portland.
Okay, so then you actually have quite a lot of options. So I like to go and recommend that people go to churches close to their home, but you can also look for parishes kind of within a closer vicinity. You don't always have to go to the one that's like right next door. So if you have a community that is very, very old, you can attend at that parish if you so desire, but you can still go to other churches and look to see if they have youth groups, or not even youth groups, like young adult groups. You can see if any of the local colleges have a Newman Center and see if there's any way where you could get involved or meet people that way, because you're still that college-aged individual. And you can also start looking. There's a lot of particularly Catholic pages that are dedicated to finding Catholic friends and, people who are nearby. I know this one's like a brand new one, but it's called the Legion app. It's kind of like Reddit, but for Catholics. And I also know there's a few pages. I'm not sure how active they all still are, but there's one called Find That Catholic Gal. And I think that page is organized by states. And I think there's also like Find That Catholic Guy and stuff like that. And they're all kind of dedicated towards friendships and things like that. But also, I wouldn't be completely hesitant to befriend some of the older people at your parish. If you get involved in volunteering at your parish or at a younger parish, being involved at the parish is really the ideal way to get involved and meet people. If you're volunteering and being a part of the parish, you get to make those friends. Actually, my daughters, back when we were in Arizona at our parish there, they joined a Rosary Club at our parish, and they were the youngest members of that club at first, probably by like a good 30, 40 years. But by the end of it, they were friends with those ladies, and so many more people joined the club that were, younger ages, and they started bringing their kids too. And so you never know what will happen. Just investing in your community, whether it's your direct parish or if you switch parishes, or if you say, no, I attend here, but I'm a club, if you will, over there. But really getting yourself out there into the real world and into the digital world as well is a great way to find people and really meet that community and connect with them. So my best friends are people that I actually met on Instagram. So
Taylor,
I hope that helps too.
What do you think?
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And God bless both of you and everyone who's listening.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Taylor, thank you for getting us started. Thank you for the call. It's so encouraging to hear about you. Young Catholic, getting married and looking for a place in the church. I do think sometimes we're getting to the point where sometimes we got to say to people, well, you might have to build it. You might have to construct it. You talk to the pastor and say, I mean, I know Holy Trinity Parish because I was just there not too long ago in Beaverton. They have a young adult group. But, if just say there wasn't a young adult group. Father, I'd like to start a group for young adults. I'd like to start, just a social thing for young adults, something like that. And most parishes, if you say you want to do it, the pastor will say, thank you very much. I've been looking for you. I'm looking for somebody who will say they'll do it. So thanks, Taylor. Thanks very much. I think I better take a break. As a matter of fact, I think I have no choice. I think we're coming up on the hard break. Desirae Sifuentes, our guest at Uncatechized Catholic. Look for her stuff. She was nobody even hardly knew about her. And then Catholic Answers got involved. And now look at her. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Actually, I think it would be fair to say the Holy Spirit got involved. But our Thomas the TikTok engine, who has at one time been a very popular part of this show, but he's so busy with social media, he hardly comes in anymore, got involved. If you've got a question for Desirae, 888-318-7884.
Who was Jesus? It's the most important question in the world. Was he a great teacher? A religious myth? The Messiah and Lord? In Evidence for Christ, apologist Jimmy Akin builds a powerful step-by-step case from history, scripture, and reason, showing that Jesus is the fulfillment of prophecy and the risen Lord. Get your copy of Jimmy Akin's Evidence for Christ today at shop.catholic.com or at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Feeling stuck? Feeling like you are not sure what's next? Well, you can be sure of this. God is not finished with you yet. In his new book, Not Finished Yet, Dr. Marcus Peters shares a powerful message of hope, healing, and transformation in Jesus Christ. Read it to discover how to overcome struggles, embrace grace, and step into the life God is calling you to. Get Not Finished Yet today at shop.catholic.com or at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
From the dawn of creation, angels have stood in the presence of God as messengers, warriors, and guardians. Some seek our fall, some intercede for our salvation, and one is assigned to protect you. In the new book, Angelic Answers, Father Mike Driscoll uncovers the truth about angels and their unseen battles. So mysterious to us, and yet so close. Get Angelic Answers today at shop.catholic.com or at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Why do we baptize? Does it really do anything? In Baptism Now Saves You, Dr. Carla Broussard explains the unbreakable relationship between baptism and salvation, making sense of the Church's teaching in a way that's easy to understand and ready to share. St. Peter said, "Repent and be baptized, every one of you." Discover what that means today. Order your copy of Baptism Now Saves You at shop.catholic.com or ask for it at a good Catholic bookstore. Welcome back, Catholic Answers Live. 1 million people on the phone right now. We only have 6 lines, but there's 1 million people on the phone. Our guest is Desirae Sifuentes, and you can find her at Uncatechized Catholic. I love your story, Desirae, because it's a story, first of all, of willingness. It's not a story of I have a plan and this is how I am going to make everything better for everybody. It's a willingness to share what you had, where the Lord said, "Go ahead and do it, and I want you to do it." And that's a beautiful example for all of us. I think 2 things: we got to be willing to say yes, but that also means saying no to our own plans sometimes. To go, okay, yes, Lord, I'll do it your way. And I love that it's brought you success. How many people follow you now? Do you know? Follow you on
across all platforms? I think I am in like the 90-something thousand followers.
Good
I might
Lord.
be close to 100. I don't know.
Good Lord. And there's 6 that have to follow you because they're your children,
Yeah, right?
Like they,
Well, they don't have social media.
they don't follow you on
Until they're
social
18.
media, but they have to literally follow you. Like get behind.
They literally do.
Yeah,
They
right.
were with me at the Creator Conference last weekend.
All right, we got a whole bunch of folks on to talk with you. Joshua is in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Joshua, thank you for waiting. Go ahead with your question for Desirae Sifuentes.
Absolutely. So I am. There was a question, but I wanted to say I was listening on the car ride home, and I heard you guys were talking about when you're the only Catholic in your family. I was like, whoa,
That's you?
me.
This is the show's for you.
Yes, it is me. I just got confirmed on Pentecost. So just like a little over 1 weekend, and I guess my question is, when you're having some of these conversations with people in your family, like namely I'm having with my brother, and he's decently charitable, but the one thing he does is he brings up, topic after topic after topic, and it's like, I'm not done talking about the one topic. I'm not done answering your question. I'm not done doing this. Now I have to switch gears. How do you keep from losing your composure and, I guess, staying calm and focused? Because it's a little hard when all those stuff is flying at you.
Sure. Joshua, can I ask how old you are? And congratulations, by the way. Welcome home.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I am 22.
Okay, so you're still quite young as a man, but also being a week into the church, you're a spiritual baby. And I know that men don't really love to hear that, but it's true. And so
You don't call a man a baby. Men don't like being called babies. No, all right,
he's
go ahead.
Mary's baby, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
So I say that just to say it, like, take it easy on yourself a little bit here. And you, if your brother is coming at you a little too hard and too fast with some things, you can be just honest and say, a lot of this is new to me. I've got my Catholic 101 down, and I've probably hopefully learned, more and above and beyond that, but there's still a lot to formulate and to figure out. And ironically, this is the post that Catholic Answers shared that made me go viral. But it's, if somebody says something to you and you don't have the answer to that, you can say, I don't have the answer for that right now, but I'm going to do everything in my power to get that information for you. And just go from there. I mean, it's good to practice. That's another thing too, is practice having these conversations. Pray in the moment that you're having them. I do that a lot, actually, when I'm talking to people, whether I'm frustrated or I just don't know how to say something or whatever, is I say, Lord, if you want me to speak to something, open the door so that I can go through, or give me the words, because the wheels are spinning right now and nothing's coming, and they're going to stop yapping in a second. So I've got to have something to say. But on a more practical note, I would also say, pray, practice. But when you're having these conversations, if he's sort of flooding you, you can establish boundaries with the topics. You can say, he gives you a question and you go, okay, your question is this. Let's explore that. Let's discuss that. And then if he moves to pivot the conversation somewhere else, you can say, whoa, hold on. I don't think we've given a good, firm, solid treatment to this. I don't want to jump into this spot where we have this conversation. And it's one conversation, but somehow we've had like 10 conversations in this conversation and haven't finished either of them. And I walk away exhausted and frustrated, and you walk away going, there was never any real answer to these questions. Like, well, we didn't get to the conclusion of these questions, So prayer while you're talking too, not just outside of it, but in the moment, and establishing those boundaries, practicing, and again, just, being okay with admitting, I'm just a baby. I will figure this out and I'll get back to you, or I'm going to take it easy on myself, give myself some grace and some space to feel frustrated, or gosh, I didn't handle that one so well. Let's see what I can do better for next time, and go from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Joshua, thank you.
No problem.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you. I'd like to send you Jimmy Akin's new book, Evidence for Christ, and not related to the conversation so much as just I want to send you a gift. It's wonderful to hear your story, and also your passion, your desire to share the faith with others. So, Evidence for Christ is a new book from Jimmy Akin, and I'll send it to you if you just hang on and give us an address. The number here, if you'd like to talk with our guest, Desirae Sifuentes, 888-318-7884, 888-318-7884. Daniel's in Tennessee watching on YouTube. Daniel, thank you for waiting. Go ahead with your question.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so I just have to say I looked into the Mary things from call last time that I was on here, and I have to say I think I want to become Catholic.
Josh,
and,
I'm sorry. Josh was our last caller. Daniel, God bless you. Thank you for telling us that. How can we be helpful?
So I realized that I want to become Catholic. I believe in the Eucharist and the real
Beautiful.
presence and all that.
Yes.
So my issue is now I feel like I'm in a very deep hole. And to give you a little bit of perspective, I'm in a small evangelical church. I'm very close to my pastor.
Mm-hmm.
I work the sound, so I'm not easily replaceable. My mother has told me that she doesn't want me to become Catholic. My father was a pastor, and he still steps in as a pastor from time to time. And they are so passionate about their beliefs that they actually went on a mission trip to Poland, of all places, to preach the gospel
Mm-hmm.
to Catholics. So, and I'm in discipleship too. I'm discipling others. And I'm like, I don't even necessarily believe some of this stuff anymore. So I don't know how to step out of it into the Catholic faith without severely burning bridges and making a mess of things.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody. I'm in the middle of the Southern Baptist domain here in the South and East Tennessee. So I don't have anybody that is Catholic or anything like that. So I just some advice.
If I may ask you a quick question, have you ever been inside of a Catholic church?
The only I have, and I went to a cathedral of all places, so that was it's a tremendous experience.
Okay, so you're there in East Tennessee. You really don't know other Catholics, and you have very limited experience of going into a Catholic church. Am I summing it up correctly?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, and it's going to cost you a great deal to make further moves towards embracing the Catholic faith. I'm going to let Desirae respond to you real quick, but we're going to have a full conversation with you because it's a very serious situation and we want to be very helpful to you, Daniel. Desirae, go ahead.
So I think in circumstances like this, a lot of this is remembering that the only person you can control in this situation is yourself. So as long as you put in the labor to ensure that you are presenting everything in the best way that you can sort of have comfort in the fact that no matter how they take it, you did everything you could to sort of set them up for the most success. And hearing what will be very difficult news. I have very close people in my life who were raised in households that were very anti-Catholic and very just not too gracious toward the Catholic Church. And some of them were exploring the Catholic Church, and they really battled against that inner feeling of I'm doing something wrong by being here. And so I say that to say that when you share this news with people who are like that, they're going to not just feel like they don't like what you're doing, but they're going to feel like you're doing something very wrong. And it's going to hurt them and make them essentially fear for your eternal life. And so having that sympathy and that empathy going in will be very helpful, just remembering how they're going to feel from this news. And I think a lot of it's also going to be sort of in the presentation. So when you do broach this topic, begin by establishing a few things like your love for your family and for Jesus, and how you're researching and going where God leads you. This isn't just feelings. This is that faith and reason. And in your delivery, just be very gracious of how they receive it and whatever questions they may have and how you present it. You know, you're not judging anyone or abandoning your family. You're not turning your back on anyone. You're happy to sort of be a intra-religious Christian. You know, just because you convert doesn't mean you can't work the soundboard somewhere else. There's no Catholic rule against that, you know, so maintaining your love and how you desire to keep these relationships and to have peaceful, fruitful, open dialogue if they so desire. But also, I presume you're an adult and you're going to be making your adult decisions based off of, you know, where you feel God is leading you. And you hope that they can respect that and understand that, and that you guys can either dialogue about it if it works or set it to the side if it's too much for right now, and then give it time, let it settle in, and hopefully they come around.
Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, it's things that I've been kind of going over in my head as well, but it's nice to know that I was kind of thinking similar, but it's very helpful insight. I love my family so much. Like, they have been really, both my parents, my brother and sister. They've just been so good to me. You know, my mom and dad have been good stewards, and I owe how I am today to them. So, and telling them this, I just can't help but feel that they're going to feel betrayed, like they didn't do good enough, or they didn't steer me in the right direction. And it's very difficult for me to imagine that, because I don't want to bring something like that into their house.
Can you present it to them as you're wanting to become closer to Christ, and that you in where you have come in your spiritual journey is that the Catholic Church will provide a way for you to become closer to the person of Jesus?
Right. Yeah. And that's what I've wanted. Like, in the past 4 months, like my devotion for Christ and His kingdom has grown immensely, to the point where I would do anything.
Praise God.
I feel like. I hope so. But in doing so, I want to be closer, be as close as I can. And how closer can I be than in my mind, is the Catholic faith?
To receive Him in the Eucharist. Well,
Amen.
Daniel, do you know how to come into the Catholic Church? I don't know how much you know, so I don't want to give you help on that if you already know it. But are you aware of how a person comes into the Catholic Church?
So that's the other thing. It's like the pain of waiting for so long, because I've signed up for the OCIA, but it starts in like late August and early September.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm sitting there going, okay, there it goes. I don't really believe that anymore. Just how did I not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm bottling it up, and it's gonna. Or they're gonna find out. Before then.
Right. Well, for I'm sure you know this, but I want to make sure that you can go to the Catholic Church now. That can be your Sunday worship. I know you have the other Sunday worship, and as Desirae said, you're not obligated to give up going and doing the sound that you're doing. That's an act of charity. There's nothing. But if it becomes too uncomfortable or you feel unwelcome, those are cross those bridges when you come to it. But you can go to a Catholic church now. You can become a weekly member of that Catholic church and sit in the pews. You can go to their young adult group. You can tell them the situation, but no one's going to say you can't be a member of this young adult group. So you don't have to wait for everything. You have to wait for the reception of the sacraments is what you have to wait for. Desirae, you look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just want to jump in talking specifically about this waiting for OCIA, Derek. I just want to affirm, I'm sorry, Daniel, I just want to affirm that there is a kind of sanctifying suffering that comes from this waiting period. And it's also not just you. It's Catholics who are waiting for confession so that they can confess a mortal sin that has them separated from God, or a man or woman or both who are waiting on an annulment so that they can be fully brought into the church or be allowed full communion with the church again, and things like that. And it's this grappling of waiting for good things. I just want to say that there is directly and already happening something very, very good for your soul by giving over to this waiting. And it's also just a sign of your own fortification, and it's for your edification that you say, I'm not just impulsively making this decision. I'm waiting for the formation, and then I go through what it feels like very slow formation process. And for some people, they're all in on this for like almost 2 years before they finally get to cross over and receive all of those sacraments and be brought into the church. So I just want to speak to that for you or for anybody else who may be in that situation where for, one reason or another, they find themselves outside of the church or unable to fully commune with the Lord or whatever. There's very, very good stuff in waiting. I know a lot of people can kind of get hung up on that and they're not sure why the church teaches that stuff, but it is doing very good things for your soul, for your spirit, for your faith, even though it's hard. It's a good thing to do. And honestly, that may even be a form of silent witness to your family. Like, I'm not even, whenever you have this talk, I'm not here yet, or I just started and I have all this time to go, but I believe in it so much I'm doing it. This isn't like an altar call where I impulsively go up. Like, this is time and labor and research and patience on my end. It's a witness, and it does a lot of good stuff for you.
Yeah. Good. Just what, yeah, I just don't know. It's like I'm feel dirty. Like I don't know. Like I'm just. Oh my gosh! Like
you're not dirty. You're a creation of the Lord.
Right. I can't help but feel that way. And like in this, there's so much that I haven't. Like I've been missing out, or I didn't realize I've been missing out on. I'm like I need to do something about it. I want to do it now, but I know that patience is something that is important. So
it is.
That's spiritual maturity speaking.
Yep. And it's really extraordinary to get to talk with you, Daniel. I'm so extraordinary that both Desirae and I have called you by the wrong name now in this conversation. So I don't know what that's about, but it's a great privilege for us to get to have this conversation with you. I would like to continue to be as helpful as we can. If there's any books of ours that we can send you, I don't know if you want to receive books. Maybe you don't want to get that kind of thing in the mail, but if you want them, we can send you Why We're Catholic. We could send you The Eucharist is Really Jesus, or The Early Church is the Catholic Church. Whatever might be helpful to you, we'll send. But also, if you would like to have a conversation with our friend and colleague, Tim Staples, who went through exactly what you're going through, really had to give up a great deal as a Protestant minister himself, to come into the Catholic Church. If you'd like to have a conversation with him, we can arrange that. So I'll tell you what, you decide what you would like, if you would like the books, if you would like to talk with Tim, and call back, because I think a lot of our listeners will want to follow you on your journey a little bit too. So let's make this a regular thing. If you can, Daniel, we'd love to keep talking with you. We'll come up with new names for you each week. But God bless you, brother. I got to take this break. You hang on, give that email, and let us know what you'd like to do with that email, and we'll go from there. All right, 888-318-7884, the number. Right back with more Desirae Sifuentes on Catholic Answers Live.
It's all about the truth. Catholic Answers Live.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Real Estate for Life. Real Estate for Life connects home buyers and sellers to real estate agents while supporting pro-life organizations. On the web at realestateforlife.org.
This is Monsignor Arthur Calkins. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to speak on a Catholic radio station, which is so necessary for all of us to strengthen our faith. This is a great task of evangelization, and we thank God that Catholic radio is available in order to do so.
The world needs EWTN Catholic Radio, now more than ever.
The Catechism defines evangelization as the proclamation of Christ and His gospel by word and the testimony of life. But what does that look like in real life? It looks like St. Paul street evangelists out in the public square sharing the good news. We're a Catholic nonprofit that starts conversations by handing out free sacramentals. Then we employ our method of listen, befriend, proclaim, and invite. Catholic Answers is supported in part by St. Paul Street Evangelization. Visit streetevangelization.com to learn more.
The Catholic formerly known as Uncatechized, Desirae Sifuentes, is our guest. And we're talking about when you're the only Catholic in your family. Boy, if I knew we were going to get calls like we got today, we would have done this show a long time ago. And I know many people will pray for Daniel, our previous caller, and for all of our callers. Please do pray for them. Some of us who are just in this thing forget the cost that others pay to come to Christ in the Eucharist. I'm going to go now to Father Mark Gandolfo, our good friend and the director of the Office for Vocations here in the Diocese of San Diego. Hi, Father.
Hi, Cy. How's it going?
Really good. You hear that call that we just had?
I did, yeah. I'm going to pray for him for sure.
Oh, thank you, Father. Thank you very much. Did you call to correct Desirae on something?
No, I called to correct you,
Oh, no.
actually. That's really why I called. No.
Of course.
No.
You're in trouble.
No, I had a question. I had a question myself, Desiree. I had a question myself, and I was listening, and I thought I would call in and ask what you think.
Okay,
All right.
I'm ready.
Lay it on her.
So oftentimes I meet with people who, when they're having these conversations with their family members, they often feel their family members are kind of feeling judged, like their family members will say, oh, you're just judging me, even when the language itself is not judgmental at all, but they often feel like they're being judged. How would someone go about having those conversations when a family member is feeling judged?
So I would say that when you're in these moments, it's good to work overtime to be gracious and loving. I think it's really easy to slip into a sense of familiarity when you're talking to your family members, like, oh, you know me, you know my intentions, you know whatever. And then suddenly they get kind of chapped and you're not sure what's going on. So kind of taking yourself out of that mode and going, effectively this person is like spiritually a child. And so how would I talk to somebody who is maybe just hearing the stuff for the first time, or that's maybe really difficult, and I want to make sure that I use terms that they can understand and they don't get confused by, or they miss some of the message because I didn't explain it well enough. So working over time to be gracious and loving in that delivery. And as you said, sometimes it's not even the delivery, it's just these feelings that come up. So getting ahead of those feelings is necessary too. You want to affirm their goodness before they can perhaps wonder if you're questioning it. And I also do this in my videos a lot of times where I'll put forth an idea, and then before I even explain that idea, I'll go, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to describe that, I'm not excluding this other thing. So it could be good to say, maybe you're considering family member getting a divorce and you're asking my opinion for it. And I would say, I know it's really hard for you right now. I see the struggles that you're having with your spouse, and I know you're trying your hardest, and I know you're trying your very best. And I know that you have a lot of love for them still, even when you're struggling. And, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to dismiss any of that pain or that grief that you feel, but it's my honest belief that God made us for marriage, and that when we push through these hard times in our marriage and we treat it like, hey, the only way out is through, what can I do to get through that? With that work, as long as both parties are willing and you're still good people, you can kind of come out the other side perhaps stronger and better. And maybe wouldn't you rather have that happen than leave and perhaps consider the future of what happens if you leave? What if you regret it one day? What if you go, I could have worked harder on that? Exhaust all avenues towards staying together and healing and what have you. And I think God will really bless you in that. But I know it's hard, and I know you need to vent it out. And sometimes you just need to say the harsh, yucky things to me. And I'm not going to judge you for that. I love you no matter what. And I want to help you in any way that you can, including saying what might be the hard thing for you to hear in this moment, just so that, someone is saying it to you so you can consider it and you don't go out the other side not having heard this thing that may have changed how you handled something or how you dealt with that. Because again, I love you an awful lot, and I really truly want the best for you no matter what.
All right, Father.
No, it's great. That was really, really great. Thank you. Appreciate it, Desiree.
Yeah, I know you can call me personally and correct me later for whatever I did wrong, Father, but thank you.
Yeah, I will. It'll be off air. We don't want to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Desirae Sifuentes is our guest. I was supposed to have said this earlier. I'll say it again. If you've searched up questions on Catholic.com, consider donating today to keep the website free and accessible to everyone searching, because we've got a full match for any donations today. Help twice as many souls find the truth. Text the word Catholic to 24365 and donate today to keep the website going. Catholic to 24365. Desirae Sifuentes, you can find her at Uncatechized Catholic. Just put that in your searcherizer and you will find her at Uncatechized Catholic. Desirae, I couldn't have enjoyed that hour more. Thank you very much for doing it with us.
Same. Thanks for having me, Sai.
Yeah, we should do that again because I hope we get more calls like that from people needing help getting into the Catholic Church or staying in the Catholic Church. That's what we want to do. Well, I guess that'll do it for us. We'll see you next time, God willing, right here on Catholic Answers Live.